Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Triple Diamond, Alice Shedovy.
Wasn't Carissa amazing? I was in the back thinking, oh my goodness, how can I follow her? That was awesome. My name is Alice Shedovy. I think I know a couple of you out there. Oh, my baby right here is crying. Do you see Nana up here? Do you see Bobby? Yeah. Hi. So today I want to talk to you. You know, I've never been given only 13 minutes to speak in my life. For any of you that have been to my presentations, I'm like, I can't even tell a story in 13 minutes. Like, what am I supposed to do? So I want to talk to you a little bit about, you know, right after a presentation like that with Carissa, you almost think to yourself, but how? Like, it's impossible. It's beyond my reach. Like, Carissa is Carissa, right? But I'm just me. And there's so many times I think we want to achieve, we want to do these things, and we just don't know how to make it actually happen for us. So I want to start, of course, with a story. You ready? I want to tell you the story of the 4-minute mile. Now, you've heard this story before, but I don't think you've heard the details of the story like I did. And when I heard the details, it profoundly changed and affected my life. In the late 1800s, people got into their minds this idea that maybe they would want to break the 4-minute mile. Somebody would run faster than 4 minutes. It turned out to be incredibly hard. And for almost 100 years, people fought for this. They tried this. In fact, it was so hard that most people said, it's impossible. A human body just can't run that fast. So why are we even trying? Well, some experts got together and they decided that if this barrier, this impossible task was ever going to be broken, some things had to happen. Number one, there would have to be perfect weather. And apparently the perfect weather for running is 68 degrees. Absolutely no wind could exist. The track would have to be dry. You would have to have the best coaches, the best diet plan, the fastest runners running right next to you, and an entire stadium full of people screaming you on for the performance of your life. So there was a man by the name of John Landy. John Landy was the fastest runner at the time. He had the best equipment, the best coaches. Everyone knew that if anyone was going to break this, it was going to be John. So the day was set up where the 4-minute mile was going to be broken. An entire stadium full of people came. In fact, there were so many people there that it was hard to even see the race. Reporters were there. I mean, just the place was packed. The fastest runners were put right next to him. It was perfect weather, and John was ready. The race began. Now, back then, and this was in the late 1950s, right? Back then, we didn't have like instant video, instant cameras, so the people in the audience didn't know exactly what time that he had run. So when he passed the finish line, everyone waited. And then the announcement came. 4 minutes and 2 seconds. And he was devastated, embarrassed. In fact, he like slunked to his locker room and he sat there and he was like, how can I go out there? How can I talk to these reporters? So finally, he gathered his courage, he walked outside, and this is what he said. This was his, big advice. And he looked at the reporters and he said, I think to 2 seconds probably doesn't sound like very much, but to me, it's like a brick wall that's impenetrable. I don't know. Maybe someday, someone will break this barrier, but I am not capable. And then he walked away. That was his report. Well, really interestingly, at the same time, there was a man by the name of Roger Bannister. Now, Roger Bannister was an incredibly busy, he was in med school. He was super, super busy. In fact, so busy that he only had time for 3 runs a week for a half an hour. He didn't have the best coaches. He didn't have the best, for sure not the best training schedule. And the day that he decided to run, Oxford was having a race. And he was on a team, and he was pretty fast. He showed up. The track was wet that day, my friends. Hardly anybody was in the stands. And he started running. Now, I got the opportunity of watching, recording of this race, where he actually dubbed his voice over, and he talked about how he felt at all the times during this race. And I remember he said at one point, it was as if my arms and my legs, I didn't even have to tell them to work. It was as if they were running on their own, and they would go as fast as I willed them to go, and I felt absolutely no energy coming out of me. He was like, it was amazing. So he ran the race of his life, and right after the finish line, they announced 3 minutes and 59 seconds. He had broken, oh, my friends, this is not the best part of the story. Oh, you wait. He went to the reporters, and this is what he said. He said, you know, I always knew one day I would break the 4-minute mile. I just didn't know when. And I didn't get down on myself if it didn't happen, because I knew one day it would happen. Now, the best part of the story is 65 days later, John Landy, who said, I'm not capable. It's beyond my reach. I can't do it. John Landy broke the 4-minute mile. Now, let's think about this just for a minute. I really want you to ponder this. How? Why? What happened in those 65 days? Did all of a sudden his lungs develop the capacity to now breathe differently and faster? Did his legs develop more muscles so he could actually run and will them to go faster? No. The only thing that changed, my friends, is that now he actually believed. He believed because someone had already done it. Something in his mind held him back all that time. He thought he could do it. He wanted to do it. He knew that maybe he had, everything there to do it, but he didn't truly believe. Now, what's interesting is the minute that the 4-minute mile was broken, everyone started breaking the 4-minute mile. In fact, that year, one race, 3 people on the same race broke the 4-minute mile. Let's talk about doTERRA for just a minute. I remember, and I'm probably going, no, I still have time, good. I was gonna be like, see ya, I'm done. They were really strict with me. They're like, Elise, we know that you talk long. You have to keep to your I remember when I was called into David Sterling's office, and he sat there and he looked at me and he said, Elise, and I had just barely gone presidential. I went presidential in a year and a half, and it was really fast, and we were kind of taped together. Do you ever feel that way in your rank? You're like, the glue is coming apart, like everything's falling apart. We were kind of taped together, and I was working harder than I'd ever worked before. And I was just trying to keep this presidential team together, and he calls me into his office and he says this. It's October. It's the end of October. And he says, Elise, I would like you to go for a new rank. At the time, we didn't have this rank. He's like, I'd like you to go to double presidential. I'm like, okay, first of all, what is that? He's like, well, now you can actually do another presidential. And he's like, and I'd like you to walk at the next convention. I'm like, Dave, I'd have to go twice to walk. I don't have one builder right now like that I'm working with because I just went presidential and I'm trying to keep everything together. So you're asking me in 8 months, because I have to go June and July, to take 0 people that I have, find 6 awesome leaders and take them all to platinum in the next 8 months. In the meantime, keeping my presidential organization together, and he knows something about me. Dave knows that I'm a little competitive. And he looked at me and he said, well, do you think you can't do it? And I'm like, well, of course I can. Like, that's not the question. And he's like, then show me. And I looked at him, I'm like, okay, Dave, I'm gonna walk as double presidential this next convention. Then I had to go home and tell my husband what I had just promised David Sterling. And he was like, Elise, what are you doing? He's like, the problem is that you make the promises and I have to keep the promises, Elise. I'm like, Patrick, I really think we can do this. And I have a plan and I have a strategy and I'm gonna show you how it's done and just hold me accountable, babe. Like, we can do this. Well, we did. We walked as double presidential that next year. And the really interesting thing is, once someone breaks the record, once someone breaks the barrier, guess what happens to everyone else? Oh my goodness, this is possible. What I'm asking you to do in this room is, we've had a lot of barriers put up with us this last year and a half, have we not? Oh my gosh, you can't do it anymore unless you're building online. Or how about this one? Well, we can't sample like we used to. Or people don't have the money that they used to have. Or nobody wants to get out anymore. Or gosh, through this pandemic, like nobody's really building. There's so many things. There's so many reasons why we can't break the 4-minute mile. But I'm gonna tell you really quickly a story about Carlos. I met Carlos last June. Actually, I've known him for 8 years, but he signed up last June. Carlos knew nothing about doTERRA. He didn't even know how we built, and so I kept him in this little bubble. I'm like, don't talk to anybody, don't talk to anybody. I'm just gonna keep you right here in this little teeny bubble. And Carlos, all we do is, we just do Zoom. That's all we do. And you're gonna go diamond in 12 months. And so after 2 months, Carlos not knowing anything else, Carlos goes, you know what, it's so easy to build this business. Carlos was from Pleasant Grove, Utah, my friends. So yeah, the hardest place to build, right? Totally saturated. So he's like, it's so easy to build this business. Everybody wants these wells. I'm like, I know, right? He went to one like leadership thing and I'm like, nobody talk to him, nobody touch him, nobody like keep him here, right? In July and August, Carlos went diamond in the pandemic. Really quickly, I want to tell you another story about Danut. Danut is from Thailand. If you think it's shut down here, it's 10 times more shut down there. Danut and his wife started building last August. They didn't have 1 people in their organization. Last month, they had 450,000 points and went diamond. The company didn't even open, you guys, until May. This business works. It works in Utah, it works in Thailand, it works in Europe, it works all over the world. Now, do you want to know how to make it work? Yes. Well, there's actually a reason why I'm wearing these purple pajamas. I want to tell you about something that's available to you right now. Right now, it's completely free. Hundreds of the top leaders all over the company have been putting their life and soul, and the Oil Games basically is a program where if you want to go elite, if you want to go premier, if you want to go silver, all the way up to diamond. It's a 2-month program. It actually rotates every single month. You can sign up every month. So October 1st is your month, people. It's your month, right? And it literally walks you through day by day, step by step, from the very beginning of your business all the way up until you go diamond. Do you know how I get most of my leaders to diamond in 10 to 12 months? That's my goal. If I have a new leader, they go diamond within 12 months. Do you know why? Well, Reach Elite is 2 months, Premier Push is 2 months, Silver Sprint is 2 months, Gold Rush is 2 months, Platinum Pursuit is 2 months, and Diamond Dash is 2 months. It's 6 programs. If they do the work, in 12 months, they're diamond. And that's what my leaders do. It's that simple. And if you win the oil games, if you're one of the top winners, guess what you get? You get a pair of these purple doTERRA pajamas. Who wants to come next year on stage with me in a pair of purple pajamas, right? My friends, listen. I love this business. I will never stop building this business. I love everything about it. And it still works. It works for me. It works for everyone that's willing to work. It works in every single open market. I have teams in every open market that it's working for. You just need to know what to do, and it's out there, available and free. And then just do the work. Let's show up next year in purple pajamas, you guys. Have a good day.